Hey Boulevard, it's that time of year again where we are looking to expand our leadership team. And if you're watching this, it means you're either interested in nominating someone or you are interested in becoming a leader yourself. So this video is to explain what will be on the website and go through the job descriptions of the three boards and just our general process. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you for watching. So first, the Boulevard Church is a church that is unique in many ways, and you know this. Boulevard Church exists to discover God's love with our neighbors, and we do that through gathering, growing, and giving. And we consider our staff and our leadership at our church to be the main champions of really becoming who the Lord has called the Boulevard to be. And this looks different in every season and in every year. So to be on a board, to be a leader, to be a staff member, it means that you are somebody that is just completely bought in. The qualifications of a leader are many, but I'll just kind of pinpoint a few. The first thing that our leadership looks at is Scripture when we consider the qualifications of a leader. There's things in the epistles. The Apostle Paul talks a lot about who should and who should not be a leader in the church. One of my favorite passages to go to when Paul talks about who should be a leader in our church is 1 Timothy 3, 1 through 13. And there's a list of things. I'm not going to go through them. You can read them yourselves. But the most important thing for me as I look at the list is in 1 Timothy 3, 2. And it says, therefore, an overseer must be above reproach. This means that we're called to a higher standard of living. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. And thank God for God's grace. But there is a sense that when you are a leader at the Boulevard Church or in any church, we are called to a higher standard of living. Now, followers of Jesus are called to a higher standard of living. But for you as a leader, this is especially something that we consider in our discernment process. A few other qualifications. Obviously, you would be somebody who regularly participates at the Boulevard Church on a Sunday morning worship service. It's hard to lead if you're not present. So having regular participation is really important. Committed, obviously, to the mission vision of the Boulevard Church. You tithe to the Boulevard Church. And you currently serve in some capacity on a Sunday team, or you lead a life group. So those are the qualifications. The terms. So if you were nominated or if you accepted to be a leader at the church, there are 2-year terms, max of 3 years. So max you would serve 6 years, and there are 2-year increments for you to discern on whether you want to continue on this journey. Now, life happens, right? And just because you say yes, and it's year 3 in the middle of your second term, and you need to transition off the team, that has happened, and we are fully happy to bless you, especially if you need to take care of your family or yourself, or if there's just a season in your life that you're not feeling called to lead. That does happen, but those are kind of the typical processes for us. How we nominate, and so you might have somebody in mind that you want to nominate. You just write a name or you send an email. All that information will be below, and we will go through a nomination process where there will be a questionnaire, and then if you get to the third part of the nomination process, there will be an interview. And just fair warning, just because you get to the third part of the process doesn't mean that you will be elected, or doesn't mean that you'll want to be on a leadership team just based on how the process goes. Ultimately, you have to be called, and the boards have to discern what is best for that unique board in this particular season. So just a heads up on that. So let me go through the different boards. And before we go through the different boards, I kind of want to add this caveat. So there are two types of churches. There is a church that is led primarily by their elders, and then there's churches that are led primarily by the staff. Our church is a staff-led church. That means that the staff are paid to implement the mission, vision, and values of our church. We're paid to implement the ministry. We are paid to, and ultimately, more importantly, we are called by God in our positions to lead our church in our respective areas of ministry. There is a tension in our boards because just because we're a staff-led church doesn't mean we have this top-down approach. A leadership principle that I live by, that we live by as a staff, is that just because we're a staff-led church, it doesn't mean that our boards can't speak into the mission, vision, the strategic plan, the ministries that we have going on. Our boards need to speak into that for our staff to do our jobs our best. But just understand that we are a staff-led church, and our boards exist to support us, encourage us, challenge us, and help us do the work. So first, the board of directors. The board of directors, in a broad swoop, kind of have in my opinion, a few buckets that they lead. First of all, they're my accountability. So I am accountable to, as the lead pastor, I am accountable to the board of directors. And they oversee not only me, but they oversee our finances. And they oversee the broad vision of the church. And they kind of do things like make sure that our building is running properly. They also help with conflict management if that was ever a need on the staff level. So these, I consider the board of directors more organizational leaders, and we meet about once a month. The pastoral care elders are our team that leads pastoral care. So they provide pastoral care not only to our staff, but they provide pastoral care to the congregation and alongside the staff to provide pastoral care to our congregation. They also oversee our theology. So if I ever said anything that was a little off base, or any of our preachers or any of our teachers or any of our volunteers, they would hold us accountable to that. They oversee our discipleship pathways. Again, they're collaborating with the staff to make sure that we are actually discipling the church. The last thing we want is a church that participates only on Sunday with their faith and not engaging regularly in their faith. So that is that. They also oversee spiritual discipline. And so if there's ever a situation where one of our leaders or one of our staff members or one of our congregation members needed to have a conversation and be held accountable, pastoral care elders are usually that group that would do that. Then lastly, the deacons. The deacons are really the ones that oversee our outreach and evangelism, and they oversee the collecting on Sunday, which is a pretty big task because you collect on Sundays and then you have to deposit those monies, and there's accountability even within the deacons to ensure that everything is done above reproach. But they also oversee our benevolence resources that support families and individuals who are in a tough financial spot. And lastly, they oversee our missions. For our boards to run as well as possible and for our staff to run as well as possible, we need to have a lot of collaboration between staff and boards. And if you were chosen and you decided to say yes to this, this would be an opportunity for you to use your particular gifts and for you to use your experience and your passion for Jesus and our church to ultimately help our church become who our church is called to be by Jesus. Every board has a lead board member, and every board has different numbers of people that they want on their team. Our deacon team usually runs larger because of the rotation of counting, and our pastoral care team and board of directors tend to run a little smaller just because of the nature of conversation that needs to be had, and meeting frequency and all of that other stuff. If you have any questions, let us know. I am praying for this process. We are praying for this process. We are praying for you as you discern whether the Lord is calling you to be a part of our leadership team. I am grateful as the pastor of the Boulevard that we have these leadership teams, because honestly, our church wouldn't be who our church is without these leadership teams. So I'm beyond grateful for those who have said yes. I'm beyond grateful for those who have done it in the past. And I'm grateful for those of you who are considering and wanting to use your gifts and talents to continue to grow and build our church so that we're honoring Jesus. Let us know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.